My 31 female fiancé 36 male doesn't want to invite his sister-in-law to our wedding because she has feelings for him when it's more the other way around. Plus update. Original post. My fiancé, Will, has a younger brother, Charlie, 34 male, and he is married to Evie, 33 female. Evie is a beautiful woman both inside and out. She is one of the nicest people I've ever met and is an amazing and supportive friend. Perhaps the best friend I've ever had. Will, Charlie, and Evie went to school together. Charlie and Evie have been together for 20 years, and they married pretty much straight out of high school. During their time at school, Will and Evie went on one date before she started dating Charlie. Will had been hounding her for a date, and she eventually said yes to try and make Charlie jealous as she liked him, but didn't think he felt the same way. Yes, completely aware this is ridiculous, but Evie was 13 at the time. Evie told me about this date pretty early on. She had wanted me to know in case I thought she had feelings for Will. She made it very clear that she's never had romantic feelings for him and that she just used him for that one date to make Charlie jealous. I do know that Will had feelings for Evie, and from what he said, that he stopped having them since we've been together. Will and I are currently in the process of planning our wedding for the next summer. We've been putting together a list of who we want to ask to be part of the wedding party and who we want to invite to the wedding. I want to have Evie as one of my bridesmaids because I know she will be supportive and reliable. Will frowned and told me that he wasn't planning on Evie being part of the wedding. I asked if he had a falling out with Charlie and wasn't inviting him either, as they're a package deal as a married couple. Plus, there is no way one would attend without the other. He replied that he hadn't fallen out with his brother, but he couldn't see himself getting married with Evie there, as according to him, she still has feelings for him, and he wouldn't want her to ruin our day. I know for a fact that she doesn't. I asked him if she had confessed feelings or something. He said no, but it's the way she is with him. He gave examples, like how she's always around our house. Evie and I run together 3 times a week, and as I live closer to her work, she comes to ours to change, instead of going home. How she'll make his favorite dessert when we celebrate Christmas at theirs. His birthday is Christmas Eve. How she does little thoughtful things like dropping off baked good for us, or how she takes an interest in things he is interested in. The 3 of them support the same football team. To me, none of this is Evie showing she has romantic feelings for him. She's just being a good friend. I told him this, but he is insistent on not inviting Evie to the wedding. I know that if Evie isn't invited, Charlie won't attend, and it will snowball further as the family are really close, but it will look like I'm the one causing this. I reached out to Evie after the conversation with Will, and I asked her to be honest with me if she had any sort of romantic feelings for Will. At first, Evie laughed at the idea of her having any sort of feelings for Will, then admitted that until I met Will, he had made her uncomfortable, but it had lessened since we got together 2 years ago. She explained that Will would make comments about how they were more suited than her and Charlie. He used to send her drunk messages about how they belonged together. She told me that Charlie knew about the messages, and they had pulled themselves away from Will during that period, but only allowed him back in when I started dating him. I asked her if he had sent her anything like that since we'd been together. Evie went quiet on the phone before saying that he had sent her a message at the weekend when Will, Charlie, and some of their friends had gone out drinking. She had canceled on running this week, but hadn't given me a reason, and it turns out that she is avoiding Will. Charlie also hasn't been talking to his brother since the night out because of the message. She sent me the message and it was very explicit. He told her that he wished he was the father of her child. Evie's pregnant with her 4th child, and not Charlie, and how he'd be a better dad than Charlie could ever be. I'm not sure what to do. I love Will, and he is convinced that Evie has feelings for him when she's made it clear that she does not. I thought Will had moved on, but he's now sending Evie messages. Is there anything I can do, or is the relationship just doomed? Now for the top advice before reading the update. Why would you marry someone who is in love with someone else? You are the backup plan. If he ever sees that he has a chance with his sister-in-law, he will drop you faster than a hot-baked potato. Do you really want this man to be father to your children when he would rather Evie be the mother? Correction, is obsessed with sister-in-law. Obsession isn't love. 20 years is a crazy amount of time to harbor this, with it only seemingly going away temporarily once he met Opie. I've read a story recently where a girl who has been married close to a year is asking help with her husband, who apparently likes to talk about his sister-in-law while he is intimate with his wife. Keep calling sister-in-law's name and describe how turned on by sister-in-law he is. The Opie in that story was saying it's been going on since the honeymoon, and my jaw dropped reading that. And I was like, you tolerated this for a year? I would have stopped at his first whisper and left the marriage completely no matter what. Seems that Opie was scared of being a divorced woman in her community and asking help in attracting her husband to her, and if maybe she needs to talk to sister-in-law and gets her to, and I kid you not, back off her husband. Shaking my head. Opie, I'm sorry, but do you really want to salvage such relationship? It's been 20 years, and he is still holding a torch and not letting go. Put more value on yourself than what this idiot is reducing you to, a backup plan. Your fiancé is obsessed over another woman to the point he outright told her he wished he was the father of her children. And you don't want to say anything because it may start a fight? Opie, you're his placeholder. If Evie did not have a husband or they divorced, he will go for her. This relationship is doomed. This is the kind of stuff that ends up on Dateline. Bingo! Either a husband offs their wife to be with desired partner, or wife off the desire of husband's affection to get rid of the competition, etc. Dateline, ID channel, true crime podcasts. Nothing but fodder for them. Yep, he's obsessed with her, and she's afraid of him. He's making up fantasies about how she secretly loves him, to the point he's actively trying to blow up their marriage and the entire family. Opie needs to run, and the sister-in-law needs to keep her head on a swivel during this breakup. You need to run. 1. Will is in love with Evie. 2. Will sexually harasses Evie now, and for the last 20 years. He isn't going to change. 3. Will is dangerously obsessed with Evie. 4. Evie should very seriously get a restraining order against him. 5. Check for cameras wherever Evie changes at your home. 6. I worry Will is using you as an excuse to get to see Evie. 7. He will always put Evie first. 8. He will never change. It's been going on for decades. When you break up with him, do it with someone else present and in a public setting. He is very unwell and dangerous. Very good point. Opie, you definitely need to run far away from this relationship, but you need to do it safely. Get your finances and property sorted out without letting Will know. Then GTFO. And I suggest Charlie and Evie completely cutting Will out of their lives. He is unhinged. Crap, I didn't even consider the possibility of hidden cameras. Opie definitely check for them, especially in bathrooms. Dude has major creep behavior already, and I wouldn't put it past him to do something like this. Edit/update. Not that it makes anything better. Will was 15 when they had that date. Evie is 6 months younger than her husband, and she's 34 next month. I've told Will that we need to talk when he comes back from taking his mom to an appointment this morning. It's nothing serious, just taking her to get new glasses, but she needs the help as she's got mobility issues. I think he knows I want to talk about Evie, as he asked if it was about Evie and the wedding. I said yes, and he sighed before telling me we would discuss it when he comes back. I'm gonna put together a weekend pack so I can leave quickly if needed. I've texted Evie and Charlie to tell them I'm going to talk to Will about his behavior because it needs to change. And he needs to realize that nothing will ever happen with Evie. Charlie responded wishing me luck and has said their house is open to me if I need it. He also apologized for me having to go through this, as they shouldn't have stuck their heads in the sand about this, hoping it would go away. I know I should have brought this up after she told me, but I'm very non-confrontational and will try and avoid an argument if I can. Now for the full update. Will and I had a talk when he came back. I told him that I knew about the text he had sent Evie at the weekend. He denied it straight away, telling me she was a fantasist, but quickly changed his tune once I started reading him the text. He then started to apologize and claimed it was just a moment of weakness. After Charlie had been showing the group pictures from their family holiday last month, one of them had made a comment about Evie being out of Charlie's league, which reminded Will that he had lost his chance with Evie all those years ago. That's when he sent her the text. I asked him how he would feel if it had been Charlie harassing his partner, and he just lowered his head and said he would be upset, but that Charlie didn't deserve Evie. I told him that Evie wasn't an object to be given to whoever is deemed worthy of her, and that she chose Charlie, and that should have been enough for him. The fact there is someone out there who loves Charlie for who he is and makes his brother happy should be enough. Will told me that he was jealous of Charlie, as he has everything he wanted, and it wasn't fair because he's the eldest. Charlie did better than Will in school. He was better at sports. Charlie's more successful as he was able to do what he wanted. Will feels he had to do what his parents expected, while Charlie could go to uni for whatever he wanted. Seeing Evie with Charlie is a reminder that Charlie has everything he wants. I asked Will if Evie was single and interested in him, would he leave me? Will refused to answer the question, but it was all I needed to hear. I told Will that I was going to stay elsewhere for a couple of days while I figure out where I will go, because we are over. I don't want to stay living with someone who doesn't care about me. When I went to go and get the bag I packed, Will asked me if he could have the ring back as it is a family heirloom. It belonged to his gran and was intended for whoever got married first. But when Charlie asked for it, Will apparently threw a massive tantrum over it, saying that it should be his as he is the eldest. So their mom said Charlie couldn't have it. I told him no, that it was going to the person who it was meant to go to, Evie. I'm now at Charlie and Evie's for a couple days, while I figure out getting a new place to stay, or if I will move closer to my family. I work for myself so that makes things easier. Charlie and Evie have decided they will be going low contact with Will. They'd go no contact, but it will cause drama with the family and neither want that, especially Evie. Will called Charlie asking if I was with them, but Charlie told Will that he had no idea where I am. Charlie then proceeded to tell Will that they are going low contact with him because of the way Will has been towards Evie and that he is now doing what he should have done years ago and protect Evie. Evie has apologized several times as she feels she's the reason my relationship has ended. But I have reassured her that the only person at fault here is Will, and I do not blame her for anything. If anything, she is a victim in all of this too. I've given her the ring, but she has said that I should give it back to mother-in-law as she doesn't want it. I wish I had seen Will's behavior before it got this far, but I was blinded by love. Looking back, I can see there were red flags that I just decided to ignore. Last story. My 30 female fiancé 40 male is having an affair with a dead woman. Here's my dilemma. Do I postpone my wedding and give us a shot to work this out? Or do I run for the hills? I'm wondering if I'm completely missing his perspective in all of this. My fiancé 40 male and I 30 female have been together for 9-ish years. A year or two through our relationship, we spent some time apart as I felt he had an inappropriate relationship with a coworker, both realtors. We ended up getting back together, but he continued to sleep with her during the first few months of us trying to work things out. We did work things out. The infidelity isn't as big of an issue for me as it is for other people. I quickly felt trust with him again, and things were great. The issue of the affair has rarely come up since we talked through our resolution years ago. 6-ish years later, we got engaged. Almost a year after that, his mistress died. Excuse my cold tone with this, but to me, she is not a good person, and I will never see her in that light. I found out she had a fetish for taken men, and she played a big role in ending 4 other marriages. My fiancé went to the funeral and spoke, at her parents' request, despite my expressing how hurtful and disrespectful that was in my eyes. In the months following her death, he has participated in fundraising held in honor of this woman. I have continued to express how hurtful and disrespectful I find this involvement in all of this. I'm capable of, and have moved on, and forgave him for the original affair. But when he keeps doing things that bring it to the forefront of our relationship, I can't help but to feel hurt by it. There is a messy history after all. I feel like I have sacrificed so much, sat back and been the one to bend and compromise on everything surrounding her in these situations, and I can't see anything that is compromised on when it comes to it. All I see is an inappropriate and disrespectful emotional connection to his dead mistress. There was a small fundraising dinner in her honor the other night, and this is where things really hit the fan. I again expressed my feelings on the situation, especially since he didn't tell me until an hour before he was going to leave to attend. He said I need to get over the affair and stop holding it over his head, and I need to figure my stuff out. He wishes I could see his perspective, because I wouldn't be upset if I stepped back and saw his side of things. Yet, he couldn't articulate his perspective. He also said he was sick of my meritless threats. After I said if he is going to continue to have an inappropriate emotional connection with his dead mistress and bring it to the forefront of our lives together, that I couldn't live the rest of my life like that. He said he has the right to honor a good friend and that she always had his back even after he chose me. This has really caught me off guard the past year. I thought there was no connection to her anymore. I also thought he had a partner that would care enough about my feelings to be willing to change some of their actions. I know I would feel awful if he came to me and said that something I was doing was hurtful to him and he found it disrespectful. But I'm getting none of that from him. Now for the advice. Wow, maybe you should have been more hurt by the affair. Your fiancé sucks. He didn't respect you when he cheated, and he doesn't now. He didn't tell you until an hour before he was going to a fundraising dinner for her, and she's a serial home wrecker? That's the woman your fiancé loves. Even when she's dead, she's wrecking your home. Your fiancé sucks. You deserve better. That's the woman your fiancé loves. It's so crummy to hear, but I immediately don't disagree with that statement. Thank you. He also said he was sick of my meritless threats. After I said if he is going to continue to have an inappropriate emotional connection with his dead mistress and bring it to the forefront of our lives together, that I couldn't live the rest of my life like that. You heard the man. Stop bluffing and divorce him. This is some of the most disrespectful crap I've ever heard in my life, and you have repeatedly communicated that to him very clearly. In response, he told you he doesn't care and that he doesn't think you have the backbone to leave him. Prove him wrong. Fool isn't even her husband, just her fiancé. The best time to leave him was when Opie learned about his affair. The second best time is today. He is showing through his words and actions that he doesn't respect her. Just strip the band-aid off and move on. Better now than in 10 years when they might have kids and a more solidly entwined life. That would be much more difficult to disentangle. Which affair? The one 7 to 8 years ago? Because Opie said that infidelity isn't as big of an issue for her. So, yeah, she has tolerated intolerable for too long. And I doubt she'll put her foot down. But she should have done that years ago and found someone that actually valued her. Don't marry him. Just break up. He's selfish. He wants you to see his perspective, but wants you to get over what is a major situation in your life. Nothing good for you in the future with him. He might even cheat again when or if he ever gets over his mistress. Prioritize yourself. He's not. Getting lots of "and I'd do it all again" vibes. He didn't choose Opie while they were together, didn't choose her while sleeping with the affair partner during their reconciliation, and certainly isn't choosing her now, while invalidating her feelings and the obvious damn effort she put in to keep their relationship together. This 40-year-old teenager can buzz right off.